Hey everyone, welcome to the Rise and Above podcast, a platform for you to share your story. Oftentimes, we all have something that happens to us in life and we have no way of sharing. Many people want an outlet, whether it's writing a book or going on a massive networking platform or starting an inspirational social media account. With the Rise and Above platform, anyone with an inspiring, motivating, or interesting story can come on and share. It could be anything from the struggles of starting a business, the struggles of overcoming homelessness or mental illness. I've interviewed victims of rape, sexual assault, and abuse. There is no subject that is off limits. This platform offers a safe and fun way for you to share your story through a one-on-one experience. If you would like to share your story, the best way to reach out would be through social media. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook or through email. All the links will be provided in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Welcome to the Rise and Above podcast. My name is David Hess, and today I have Erin Meadows with me. She is a local business owner, and I don't want to give too much away about that. I'll let her talk about it. So I guess with that being said, how are you doing today, Erin?
Good.
I'm glad to hear that you're feeling much better.
Yeah, thank you.
So can you tell me a little bit about the business? Oh, actually, first, tell me a little bit about yourself. Are you from the Lansing area? Were you born and raised here?
I am initially from Decatur, Illinois.
Oh,
I
wow.
lived there just the first 3 years of my life, though, and then we moved to the Thumb area in a place called Caro, Michigan. It's
Okay.
a small town in the Thumb. We grow sugar beets. We have a sugar beet factory there.
Wow.
And so that was where I grew up. And then I decided to go to Michigan State for college because I was tired of being in a small town where everybody knows your business, you know. So I moved to East Lansing and went to Michigan State University. And that's initially what brought me to the area.
Okay.
And then I got an engineering degree.
Wow.
But ultimately I decided to not be an engineer. But while I was in college, I had my first son, kind of unexpectedly, but a happy surprise. And then I continued on and finished my degree, and then we moved to Cleveland because my boyfriend at the time was going to law school. So we lived in Cleveland for a while, where I had my second son, and where I got my first engineering job, which I did for about a year. And it didn't take me too long to realize that I can't sit down all day at a desk. It's just not for me. I'm a mover and a doer and a hands-on person.
Right.
But I didn't know when I went and got my degree that was going to be hard for me to just sit at a desk all day. So, but I don't feel like it was the loss. In my degree, I had a cognate, which is basically like a minor in business. So I learned a lot about business. Thinking that I'd use it in my engineering field, you know, if I became a manager or something, but it turned out to kind of stoke my interest in owning a business someday. And so after quitting my engineering job, because it was just, the sitting at the desk was really tiring, but I also had a boss who was really kind of had anger management issues. So I was like, I just have to get out of here. So I went and got a job at Nordstrom's as a salesperson, and I loved it. Didn't make nearly as much money, but I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't about the money for me. I realized that too, that it's more important for me to be happy in my job. So I was helping people, and I realized that customer service is something I love to do. I love to help people and to be of service. So that was something cool that I learned. And I also started realizing that I wanted to have my own business someday. I started realizing, because I had worked at a lot of different places in college, you know, like restaurants and things, I realized how different people run their businesses really matters to create this environment. You know, you can make people happy or you can make them miserable, you know, and it really does depend on how you manage it and how you look at things. And so I really liked how Nordstrom ran things, and they gave the employees the power. And they had like these little pep rallies, and we got really inspired, you know. So I thought that was really cool. I was like, wow, I feel important here, you know, even though I'm just a salesperson. So I wanted to carry that out in my own business someday. So from there, we moved back to Michigan. We lived in the Detroit area for a while, where I had my third child, who's a daughter. So I've got 2 sons and a daughter.
Oh, cool.
And that's where I started becoming a stay-at-home mom. So that was really cool. To be able to be home with them all the time. when I went off to college, I never saw myself as being a stay-at-home mom. I thought, oh, I'm a career woman, you know?
You're a doer.
Yes, yes. But once I had my first son, all I wanted to do was stay home with him, you know, because I just wanted to spend as much time possible with him. And then, of course, I felt that way about my other kids, too. So I was really excited to finally be able to be a stay-at-home parent for many years. And that was wonderful. And I, you know, gave it my all. And that was definitely a busy job, you know.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Definitely hands-on. And I feel like they taught me as much as I taught them, you know, when they were growing up, which was a really cool experience. And then I decided to start getting a job to do, okay, so when my kids were really little, while I was still a stay-at-home mom, I decided I wanted to have a business. And I was just kind of thinking, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And it came to me one day when we had gone out to eat and people were feeling lethargic and kind of crappy after we ate some kind of fried food, whatever. And I remember thinking, why do we always have to feel like we're compromising our health to go out to eat? Because I made all this healthy food at home, but when we go out to eat, they didn't get healthy food. It was fries and just, you know.
And it's never good.
Exactly. It's like it might have tasted good, like this instant gratification, but then afterwards we're just like, I don't feel so good. So I was like, I really want to have a cafe someday or a restaurant where all the food is healthy and good for you, but it also tastes good. You know, you don't feel like you have to compromise. So that's when the idea for Abundance Cafe was born. So from there, you know, I finished mostly raising my kids. They were in high school when I decided to start venturing out. So I got a job at a cafe and I worked my way up to supervisor, and I got to do, it was basically like an assistant manager position.
Okay.
Because the manager wasn't there. So I was assistant to the assistant manager, who was pretty much the manager, because she was doing all the ordering and all that type of stuff. But I'd like open the store and close the store and things like that, and manage the employees and stuff. So that was cool, great experience. I did that. That was Schuler's Bookstore at Eastwood Town Center. They had a little place called Chapbook Cafe inside of there.
Yeah.
That was like, that's where I worked.
Their food is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been there one time, and I remember it being really good.
Yes, it's good quality, and yeah, I liked the way it was ran, and everybody seemed to get along well. Like, it was a good positive atmosphere, so I was excited to be a part of that. And then from there, I actually just decided I needed to move on, because I had worked there 2 years, and I felt like I'd learned all I could, and I was ready to learn more. And so I quit that job and got another one, and then just like a month later they announced they were closing for good. That was unfortunate. It was sad because everybody that worked there was awesome, and so it's kind of breaking up the family.
Were you not able to transfer over to the other one?
No, I wasn't even part of that store anymore. I had already quit, so I wasn't looking to stay with them. Some of my friends did transfer over, but there wasn't room for everybody.
Right,
you know,
right.
It definitely was a little sad to see everything go, you know, because you have your regulars and they're not going to come to a lot of them wouldn't come to a different location.
Right.
But anyway, I got a job for a little bit at Panera Catering and then found out that wasn't for me. And then I found Morton's Fine Catering, which is where I work today. I've been there a little over 3 years now.
Okay.
And I really like it. It's a family-owned business.
Okay.
Beth and John Morton, they're great people, and they treat everyone like family, you know, like they care about you, you know,
right.
which is what I was looking for. So I love working there, real positive atmosphere, and I've been learning, so I've been in the kitchen there, so I got to learn the ins and outs of cooking, and I mean, I've always been a cook at home, so I've learned a lot throughout the years just cooking for my family, but this is on a grand scale, you know, cooking big amounts of things. It's a little different. So I got to learn that, and I basically make all their salads and desserts, and then if they need help with other stuff, if I have time, I do that too. So
that's very cool.
Yeah.
So kind of going back a little bit, you just up and quit your engineering job because you didn't like it. You didn't really, I'm assuming it was probably stressful, right? Did you get any pushback from like your family members?
Yes.
What was that like?
So yeah, my mom continues to this day say that, well, you could use your engineering degree if you need to. And I'm like, I know, Mom. It's good to know I can fall back on it.
Right.
But it's just, I let her know. I'm like, it just isn't for me. You know, it doesn't make me happy. And she wants me to be happy, and so she understands. My dad passed away when I was 19,
Hmm.
so he was an engineer.
Oh,
So I was kind of
okay.
following in his footsteps.
What was your
Um,
plans with the engineering degree? Were you wanting to work in a certain field?
I was a mechanical engineer for a year.
Okay.
That was what I wanted to do because I liked the idea of designing things and making them, like
Okay.
concrete things. Electrical engineer was a little too abstract for me, and
Okay.
yeah, the mechanical was really my thing, I think.
Yeah.
And I still like that kind of thing. I still like to create things and how mechanical
Right.
things work and stuff, but
Do you think that if you had thought of, did you think it through when you went to college? When you went, I can't talk. um, did you like know that that's what you wanted to do, or do you think if you had somebody kind of guiding you that you would have chose to go down like a different path, like maybe working?
maybe. I don't know though. I was pretty stubborn and
Okay.
I might have. I don't know. I think it's weird because I went did a job shadow with my dad one day and got to see what he was doing. But I think he maybe was up and about more than he normally would be on a
Okay.
day-to-day thing because he was trying to give me the tour and show me what
Right.
all the different things he does.
Yeah.
And so it seemed pretty interesting, but it was all still just kind of vague. Like I don't really know what that's going to feel like to
Right.
do that. You know, it's just
Right.
watching him do it. You know, and so. But I do know I was really good in math and science. Those were my two
Wow.
strong subjects. And, you know, in engineering, I got 4.0s in all my
Wow.
engineering math. So I was like, oh, I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path. Because you
Right.
think that's your gift. You must use it, you know?
Right.
What I didn't realize is that I wouldn't be using my gift, my people skills gift, really.
Right.
And that turns out to be the more fulfilling gift. And I can still use math in any field, really.
Right. Yep.
You know?
I think that's like one thing with a lot of young people, like going into college, is they don't really know what they want to do, and then later on in life they end up really depressed, or because they're in a career, they're stuck in a career because they have all the student debt and they can't really
Mhm.
go on to do a course that they would rather do, kind of like what
Yeah.
you did, just up and
Yeah.
quit, and then started. I mean, you obviously had to raise kids, and then
Yeah.
you thought about it, and then you realize that this is what you really want to do,
Mhm.
and now you're on your path.
Yeah, and I mean, I was very blessed to be in a relationship where he was a lawyer and we were able to pay off both of our student debts because he, made enough money. And so I didn't have to worry about
The finances.
paying off. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I mean, I was so blessed to be able to stay at home with my kids because if he didn't, obviously if he didn't make enough money, that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Because I know so many other moms who said that if they could afford it, they would stay home with their kids. And,
Yeah.
it's a little sad that, we have these, we have to make ends meet,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now it seems like everybody's in a situation where both parents have to work,
Mhm.
and we're kind of in that position. My wife works at General Motors as well with me,
Okay.
and so we have to hire babysitters or put our kids in daycare. Luckily, my
Mhm.
kids are in school too, so. But yeah, it sucks having to leave your kids and
Yeah.
leave them to somebody else to kind of raise.
Yeah.
So it's awesome that you were able to do that and take the time to really realize what you wanted to do. And
Yeah. So then when I did go back into the field, I knew I wanted to start Abundance Cafe. Let's see, when did I?
why did you call it that?
Oh, Abundance Cafe, I call it that because I feel that, so the type of business it is I make everything from scratch with like whole ingredients and like a lot of vegetables and a lot of nutrients. So there's like an abundance of nutrients and abundance of
Use like whole foods.
ingredients. Yeah, yep. And I try to do local farm stuff as much as possible.
Okay.
Right now it's a little tricky because I'm doing deliveries. So I have people place orders through the Facebook and then I make all the food Monday and deliver it all on Tuesday. Orders are due Sunday night. So from Sunday night, I figure out how much I need to buy, then I buy it all Monday morning. So it's really hard to work with a farmer on that level.
Right.
But once I open up my cafe, I plan to have connections with local farmers
Okay.
and get as much stuff local from them as possible.
So I'm sorry. Are you doing all this out of your house right now?
No, I've worked out of a commercial kitchen for the last 5 years.
Okay.
So to be legit and sell things like soup and salad, you have to have a commercial kitchen.
Right.
So I do make granola also, and if I was just doing granola, I could just do it at home.
Okay.
But since I'm doing soups and salads, they require that.
Okay.
So I started renting the Allen Neighborhood Center kitchen first, and that was kind of how I got involved and started my business. I started Abundance Cafe LLC, and then from there I found another kitchen to rent that was a little more convenient for me. And then from there, I went to Morton's Fine Catering. When I started working there, he said I could use the kitchen. So I used the kitchen there.
That's a good owner.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's really cool.
I was just paying them with food for a while. And recently we just started working out a deal where I pay them rent too,
That's
because
cool.
they're getting busy and,
Right.
it's I'm kind of imposing on their space sometimes here and there. So I'm currently looking for another place, but I also want a cafe. So I'm hoping that the next place is going to be an actual cafe with a kitchen.
So what kind of things are you going to make and sell at the cafe? Are you still going to do the delivery service and the kind of the meal prepping?
I am going to do the meal service. So before, I forgot to mention, before I started doing these deliveries, which just started this past November. Before that, I had been doing farmers markets for 4 years. So I did a bunch of different farmers markets, like the Meridian one, the Allen Street one, DeWitt, and Bath. And I was down to just the Meridian one the last year, but that's a really good one to do. Problem I was finding with the soups and salads is they're all perishable, so they didn't last through the next week, so I'd have to toss whatever I didn't sell. So I just if I made 20 salads and only sold 10 of them, I didn't really make much of a profit.
There's no way to like donate that somewhere?
Oh yeah, I could donate it. I mostly just gave it to friends and stuff, like people at the market that I knew and stuff. Everybody appreciated the food.
I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, and I would eat some too. It's not like it went to waste. It's just that it was a loss in profit.
Right.
So I didn't actually make much of a profit, like a tiny little bit throughout the last 4 years. But then I started doing pop-ups. So I did a few pop-ups, like 2 back-to-back, and then in October of 2018, and then 2019, I did another couple of them.
Okay.
And then in 2020, I started doing pop-ups in November, and I was just going, because my boss and I had talked, and he was like, well, because of the pandemic, this Old Town Marquee is not being used because they own that in Old Town.
Okay.
It's a reception hall, so it's like a big area, but he's like, if you want to rent it and, have a cafe every day, you can. And I was like, huh. And so I decided to do it, I think, 4 days a week. So it was like Wednesday, Thursday, or was it 5 days? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think it was those 4 days. So I decided to start doing that. Like every week, we were going to try it for a month and see how it went and then maybe carry over. But we did it 2 weeks, and we got another shutdown from the pandemic. So all dining areas had to be closed. So I decided at that point to start doing the delivery service. And so the delivery service is nice because I know exactly how much I need to make ahead of time. I make it, I deliver it, or have them pick it up, and then it's done. I can eat the whatever extra we have. I always like to have a little extra because it feeds me throughout the week, you know. So that's been wonderful for profit. For the first time, I'm actually able to start saving up money towards this cafe that I want to have. So yes, I do. To answer your question, yes, I do plan to continue the delivery service once I open my cafe because the customers really like it, and there may not be the same customers that come in to eat meals at the cafe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody might be just walking through Old Town and they might want some lunch or something. So, how do you plan your meals? Can somebody just be like, I want like steak and whatever, and as a side, how do you prepare? Do you have a menu?
I have a menu that I post every week.
Does it change? Okay, it changes week.
It changes weekly.
Okay.
And I try to rotate the items so that like I have certain items that are favorites. So I'll try to have those. The biggest ones that are the biggest favorites are my apple basil chicken salad. So I usually have that every other week or every third week. And then quinoa salad is another really big one. So same thing, I try to have that pretty often. I think everything else pretty much rotates. So I have some stuffed vegetables. I try to have, I have a stuffed zucchini, a stuffed pepper, and a stuffed portobello. And I try to alternate those. And those are all vegan. Like I have a lot of vegan options. So So it's kind of a lot of like specialty foods. So like
Right.
people with special diets, like vegan is a
Mhm.
special diet that not a lot of people cater to in the area.
Right.
So I definitely hit on that. And the other thing is I'm gluten free myself, and so I don't put gluten in anything.
Hmm.
But I cook in a kitchen that has gluten, so I can't label it gluten free. But it's
Right.
so
But you're not using it.
exactly. So it's not. If you can have trace amounts, you can have my food. Like that's the
Right.
awesome thing.
Okay.
And then I don't use soy because I'm also allergic to that.
Really?
So I
What
just
kind of reactions do you
decided-
have?
I get bumps.
Really?
Just these red dots. And it's just like they're like warning signs. Because when I first realized I was having all these food sensitivities, I started breaking out in dots all over my whole body. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? And I went to the doctor, and they gave me these different antibiotics and antiviral medicines. Nothing was helping. And then a friend suggested I try clean eating. So I did. Clean eating just means get rid of all processed foods.
Mm-hmm.
After 24 hours of that, all the dots went away. So I knew
Wow.
I was onto something. But it took a while of experimenting to figure out, like introducing things back in
Right.
one at a time to figure out which things it was that I was reacting to.
And you figured out it was soy.
It was one of them. Wheat was
Wow.
another big one.
Wow.
And dairy tended to
Wow.
be. Dairy tends to give me allergies. It's a little bit of a different reaction. So
Okay.
that wasn't giving me the bumps. It makes me like congested and just. And it's like I never noticed, like I had dairy all my life, you know. So I'll still have it sometimes, and it's not like I'm gonna die, but you know.
Right.
it-
So you eat ice cream every now and then?
Yeah, yeah, you gotta live, you know.
Absolutely. So you cater most of your meals to vegan or like vegetarian diets. Do you do meat products?
I do some chicken.
Yeah, you
and-
did say that.
And I do
Yeah.
some fish. So like
Okay.
shrimp and salmon are two things that I use. But
are
other
those-
than that, no, I don't do beef or pork.
Okay.
So
Now, are those like farm raised?
I try to. Now that's the thing. Since I've been doing this delivery, I've been buying everything pretty much at Meijer. So that's
Okay.
where I'm getting my ingredients. And I love how they have a lot of local produce
Mm-hmm.
there. But the meat is just Meijer meat, you know, whatever that is. It's
Right.
not as conscious as I would like to be with my meat. When I was doing the pop-ups, I was buying from a local farmer.
Okay.
So, and I know him, like from the farmers markets. And
Right.
it's like I know how he raises his animals.
Was it the guy from?
humanely.
Was it the guy from Mean Rapids?
I don't know. It's Circle F Ranch.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember exactly which city he's in. But you know, we would talk at the farmers markets because we
Right.
worked a couple different markets together. So, and he posts. I follow him on Instagram, and he posts
Okay.
pictures of the animals, and they're so cute. And you know, like he has a nice, humane environment there.
Right.
So I feel good about that, and that's what I want to get back to. I
Mhm.
just the delivery thing is just like right now, it's just like convenient. I talked to him about when I started doing those pop-ups again in November. I talked to him about getting chicken, and I couldn't. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic, but he said there was nobody to process the chicken.
Really? Wow.
So we were running into that problem. I wasn't able to find someone to supply me at that time, but again, I want to get back into that, and I need to do some research
Right.
on where to get chicken.
Now, when you open up your cafe, do you plan on having like for the delivery service like an app somebody can go to and order or
Yes.
customize even?
Yes, that'd be
Yeah.
great. That'd be great. I also am working right now on developing a website. I
Okay.
had a website and I just made it on Wix, so it was
Okay.
just kind of easy for me to make, but it
Right.
wasn't something that was really easy for customers to order on. And so I want to have a website where people can go on there and order, and it tells me, and then it tallies it all up and stuff. So either an app or that or both, I don't really know. I need
Yeah.
to talk to someone more techie because that's not my field. Like,
That's not my field at all
yeah,
either. Yeah, I would think both would be good, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah. If I could do both, it would be good because I know some people prefer apps and like the
Right.
younger generation. It
Yeah.
seems like.
Yeah.
I know like everyone wants you to have an app for their business these days, and it's a
Yeah.
little bit annoying. So I don't want to make it a requirement, like you have to order on the app, you know,
Right.
because I know some people like me might be like, oh, another app.
These dang millennials.
Yeah, right.
So I had a question. I don't remember what it was now. Yeah, I don't remember. Do you make what kind of other things do you make, like baked goods at all?
I do. I make a gluten-free vegan banana muffin
Okay.
that's to die for. And I can put like chocolate chips in it or nuts in it or blueberries in it. So I kind of mix it up. I haven't started selling those though. I've been like perfecting the recipe for years. And I was going to start selling them when I was doing the pop-ups, but then we got shut down, so I never did. Because I also buy some things from local businesses that I sell.
Okay.
So I sell them in my deliveries, and I also
Oh,
sold
cool.
them at my pop-ups. So like Stone Circle, I was using their bread products when I was having the cafe. Right now, I'm not selling their products because I don't do anything bread because I don't think a burger is because I did a vegan burger, but I don't think
Okay.
I don't think a vegan burger is good to like reheat like with the
Oh,
bread
okay.
and all.
It's like rubbery.
Yeah, or it just I don't know. It just seems like the bread would get old after a
Yeah.
couple days, and so most of the stuff that I make lasts for 6 days after you get it.
Okay.
So that way you can reheat it and eat it throughout the week. So I try
Right.
to keep it things that are good for lasting that longevity.
Now, first off, what is your demographic of people like your customers? Are they generally like middle-aged people, young? Do you have young people
I do have
ordering from
young
you?
people. I have young 20s customers, and then I have people that are 80, you
Okay.
know? So it's pretty awesome, actually. It's a huge range
Yeah.
of age groups. It's really just health conscious people.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them are vegan. You know, some of them love that chicken salad. Like, in fact, I just recently turned vegetarian
Okay.
myself. It was kind of a slow process. I like gave up beef and pork like a year or two ago, and then I just at some point was like, yeah, I don't really think I need meat anymore. I just felt like not doing it anymore. But I don't obviously I don't judge anyone for having meat, you know,
Right.
like
Right.
but it's different now. It's like part of me was like, oh, should I go all vegan with my cafe? But I really don't think I want to do that because if you think about it, most restaurants have meat on all their dishes and then a couple vegetarian
right,
dishes. I
yeah.
think I'm going to be the opposite of that. Most of the options
Okay.
can be vegan and a couple of them are going to have meat.
Okay.
So it's basically like that. And it's like that on my menu for deliveries too.
See, I don't have a problem with like a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet. The only thing is like tofu is not good.
No.
I don't like tofu, but like if it was like
I'm allergic to it, but I don't like it either.
if it
It's weird.
It is really weird. But like if it was like something like whole food, like that you know something you make like with Whole Foods, then I would be more than down to try it. My wife made a lasagna with zucchini. So she shredded
yeah.
the zucchini,
Yep.
and then it takes a lot, but
Yeah.
yeah, you have like these little shreds of zucchini, and then you wrap it up in the whatever. I don't know how to
Wow.
make it, but
Yeah, nice.
and it tasted really good.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
I actually been meaning to make that sometime to try because I make like if you can julienne cut the zucchini, you can use that as pasta instead of pasta.
Okay.
Because I'm gluten free, and I have found some good gluten free pastas lately. Like chickpea pasta is good, but in the beginning when I first became gluten free, it was really hard to find anything, and that was just
Yeah.
like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I did the zucchini noodles, and I love it with like spaghetti sauce and stuff on top. You
Yeah.
know, it's really a good alternative.
Have you ever tried like spaghetti squash for spaghetti?
I did that
it's-
once, just once.
Just
I
once?
should try it again. Yeah.
It was pretty good. I've tried that.
I had a friend who made it with spaghetti squash tacos, and it just
Oh,
had
wow.
like all the taco toppings on top of the spaghetti squash, and it was actually really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to
It's
try
different.
that.
I would have never thought of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Me neither.
it's fun.
Now, how did you do you work with like like if somebody comes to you and they want like to go on a diet, because I mean obviously you're selling healthy food, and a lot of people when they want to lose weight, they want to get on a healthier diet, they want to start eating whole foods, and if somebody came to you and was like I want to lose weight, how would you go about that? Would you work with them or
I've never had that. I've never had anyone approach me like that.
okay.
I have had people tell me that they're trying to eat healthier and that's why they're buying my food.
Okay.
All my food is healthy, and so I guess I would recommend them to just eat anything on my menu and just also consider calories in, calories out. You know, it's
Right.
if somebody asked for my advice, I would make sure to mention also a healthy lifestyle as far as exercise is important too, because it all, you know, it's all connected,
Right,
and
yeah.
you have to have all of it to make it
It's a healthy balance of everything.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, how do you figure out your portion sizes and stuff? Because
Um,
like somebody like me, I would be like I'm sure I could eat way more than you.
yeah, yeah. That's a good question. I guess I just figured it out based on what I think is a good portion. And I know some people say, especially the older people, say, this is 2 meals for me, like
Okay.
it's a good deal, but it would
Right.
probably be 1 meal for you. And honestly, for me, it's 1 meal because you'd be surprised. I can eat quite a bit.
That sounds like a challenge.
Yeah, like I make a chicken shawarma meal, and I think it's like 6 ounces of chicken.
Okay.
Once it's cooked, so it's a decent amount. But you also get a bunch of vegetables with it and rice. I just do a half cup of rice because I think that Americans eat too many carbs.
Mhm.
And when I say carbs, I mean like grains kind of carbs.
Right.
Because there's carbs in all vegetables, really. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
kind of a loose term. But yeah, like the grains, we don't need as much as a lot of people think, and it's
Mhm.
cheap. The grains tend to be cheaper, so at a lot of restaurants, they give you a giant plate of pasta with just a little
Yeah.
other stuff on it,
Yeah.
just because it's cheaper for them, and they're filling you up while
Yeah.
making money. And
That's true.
I'm the opposite. I'm actually like, how can I do this as hard as possible? How can I put the most work into it?
And make the least amount of money.
Yep, and make the least amount of money. Well, and I mean, I have to charge a decent amount to make any money because
Right.
all the ingredients are expensive.
Mhm.
More expensive ingredients. I use fresh herbs. I use, all the whole vegetables and mushrooms um, meat is expensive, obviously, and just a little bit of grain. Like I don't use much grain at all. So a lot of things are grain free, which customers really like because some people are on paleo diets.
Right. So it's pretty universal. How do you come up with your different meal plans? Like,
I do.
because cooking a vegetarian, mainly vegetarian, is kind of difficult because then like you actually have to like plan it out. It's not as simple as just throwing a steak on the grill and
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, it's true. I think throughout the last 5 years with the farmers markets has really been a good learning experience to get me to where I am, to have so many recipes under my belt now.
Hmm.
When I first started, I just came up with a few soups, and it was like I'd alternate them and sell them at the farmers markets. Then I introduced salads because I found out that not many people wanted to buy soup in the summer for some
Right.
reason, even though I like it year round. Some people don't like it in the summer. So then that's when I started coming up with salad ideas. And so one by one, I did experimenting at home and
Okay.
just would be like, okay, I'm going to create a new salad today. And I'd buy a whole bunch of ingredients and I'd just go home and play and just try different things together and different combinations. And for some things, for some of the soups, I looked up recipes online
Hmm.
and then I added 4 more vegetables to it because I always feel like things need more vegetables, like
Right.
more variety.
Right.
Again, that abundance comes into play. I think the more variety of vegetables that we get, the more variety of nutrients we get, and the more
Right.
complete nutrition we can get.
So you say you put fresh herbs and stuff in it. How did you learn how to do that? I mean, you just start experimenting with seasonings and whatnot,
Yeah.
and people are like, "Wow, that's amazing."
Yeah, I just started experimenting. Some of them, like the recipe would call for like this herb or that
Okay.
herb, and then I might be like, huh, but I bet it would be good with basil too, and so I'd
Right.
add that to it, and it was, or maybe it wasn't, but I try to keep the experimenting to home when I'm not doing it there.
Hmm.
So a lot of times I'll take home the leftovers and eat some, and I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna add this to it and see how it is,
Oh, that's a
so
good
that's a
idea.
good way to kind of play around with it.
Now, you said you're also and you're in the process of looking for a cafe, a place that you can rent from. What's your timeline on that?
I was hoping to do it by the turn of the year. So
Oh.
that's 4 months. And
Are you?
that scares me. That deadline scares me, but I think it needs to because I need the pressure on.
Hmm.
My bosses have conveyed that they're ready for me to move on, politely, very politely. They were super nice about it, but they were just like, yeah, it's starting to get tight in here. We really don't want to see you
Oh.
go. But, we also, I was like, yeah, I don't want to be in the way. Like,
Right.
I totally get it, but so I feel like the universe is nudging me
Mhm.
towards opening up my cafe.
Right.
I had a couple locations in mind that fell through. So now I'm opening up the possibilities again. I had been looking in Old Town. It
Okay.
doesn't look like there's anything in Old Town. And I had been looking in Rio Town, and it doesn't look like there's anything in Rio Town. So unless something magically opens up there,
So does it have to
I'm
be
looking elsewhere.
does it have to be a space with a kitchen already?
I'm really wanting that.
Okay.
Kitchens are really a lot of work to put in.
Okay.
The biggest thing is the hood is really expensive.
Yeah.
However, I was just talking to my boss about it, and I guess there are kitchens that you can do with like convection, like electric convection ovens and induction heat burners that you don't actually need a vent for. And so in that case, if I didn't need the hood, it might be a little more of a doable situation.
Okay.
So I would consider it, but I'm definitely scouring for a kitchen.
Right.
Because this is my first time go around with it.
Right.
And so, you know, if I open up a second location, yeah, maybe I'll be a little more ready to
Dump
build
money
a
into it.
kitchen.
Right.
Well, yeah, to put the money into it and to have the know-how, like,
Right. This is what I need.
Yeah, exactly. And where am I going to put this, and what's this going to look like? You know, like I
Right.
think, you know, having a kitchen of my own first and knowing what I'm looking for would be better than.
Right. How do you know what exactly you need for a kitchen?
Well, I know
mean,
what
you
I
obviously
use.
work in a kitchen.
I know what
so-
I use. The kitchen I work at has a fryer and a steamer, and I don't think I would use those. So I don't
Okay.
really need those. I use burners,
Okay.
you know, for my soups.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. And then I use the oven for my stuffed vegetables and the shawarma meals. So I do a chicken shawarma. I forgot to mention I also do a vegan shawarma, which my vegan customers are super excited about, because if you ever hear of shawarma, you never hear vegan
No.
shawarma, right? So I just made that up. I had this marinade that I found this recipe for online, and the marinade is great. And I've been making it for years for my family, and they've always loved it. And then just recently, when I decided to start selling it through my business, I decided I need a vegan option for my vegan customers. And so I picked some vegetables that are a little higher in protein. I went with cauliflower, sweet potato, and Brussels sprouts. And I just marinate them in the same marinade and then cook them and serve them with a side of vegetables too, just like the chicken shawarma, which is like peppers and carrots and zucchini.
Okay.
And then it comes with rice and hummus. And it's a really good meal. Like, it's all.
I want to try that.
Yeah, that's a big customer favorite. So I'm doing chicken shawarma. I'm doing the shawarma meals this week, actually.
Okay.
So I put out the menu usually on Thursday, sometimes on Friday if I get too busy, because, you know, I do work. So I put it out on Thursday, and then orders are due by Sunday. So, like, people can still order the shawarma meals until Sunday night at 8 p.m. And
Okay.
so, or whatever else. Like this week, I have the apple basil chicken salad, which is another favorite. I have the Mediterranean salad, which is delicious, and it has chickpeas on it for protein.
Okay.
And then one more thing. What was it? I don't know. Oh, a soup. It was a soup.
Okay.
It was my black bean tortilla soup. So
That sounds good.
yeah, it's a tomato-based soup with black beans and a whole bunch of different vegetables in it.
Okay.
And then I serve it with a side of tortilla chips, so you can crumble them on top.
That sounds really good. I want that too.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a place where you post pictures of what you're
On my Facebook
serving that week?
page.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody wanted to order that, they can just go to your Facebook and send you a message.
Yep, because it's Facebook Instant or Facebook Messenger is where I have them order. So
Okay.
it's not the most efficient for me because I have to, when I send a reminder to my customers if they didn't happen to get on Facebook and see the menu.
Right.
So like on Saturday or Sunday, usually Saturday if I have time, I get on there and I send a message to every customer.
Oh my gosh.
Unless they tell me that they don't want to hear from me again. 'Cause some people are like, well, I moved away, you know, or whatever. But I send a menu to each one, but because of the way Messenger is, it's different. I think they used to let you send it to a whole bulk amount of
like
people.
a group.
But now
Yeah.
it's like you have to send them to them individually. And so I
Oh
send
my
a
gosh.
message. I send a message and then the picture. So it's like I send both of those to everybody. And I have like 100 customers. So it's
Oh
like
my gosh.
it's very time consuming. And so I was starting to think about it lately. I'm like, maybe I should get their emails.
That's a really good idea.
Like, why didn't I think of that sooner? But, you know, I have been pretty busy. And I think that makes it less efficient when I'm so busy that I don't have time to like
Right.
make it more efficient, you know?
Right, exactly.
So I had a few days off work this past week, and I'm starting to think about ways to make things better for me and work and more smoothly.
Now, how do you balance your work life with your with also your business and your family? How do you balance all that?
Well, I forgot to mention my kids are older now, and so my youngest is 19,
Oh wow.
and she had been going to Northern, so she had just
Okay.
been gone for this past year, but she's back now, but she's staying mostly with her dad. So I get her about once a week. She'll come visit. But her dad kept the house when we separated 6 years ago. And so she's at his house, which is in the same town that I live in. So I get to see her, you know, we still plan get-togethers, which is great. But now my family is not something I need to focus on right now. I still definitely get together with my kids as much
Right.
as possible. I have one son, my oldest lives in Colorado. So
Oh wow.
every chance I get to see him, I do, but
Right.
it's, you know, few and far between right now. And then my other son, Taylor, lives in Lansing, and he works full time. He had been working 2 jobs,
Wow.
and I think he's just put in his 2 weeks for one of them because he's going full time with the others. So,
Oh cool.
but he's super busy, so I don't see him as much as I'd like, but
Right.
I try to. He's 21, so it's kind of that
Yeah.
age where he's spreading his wings
Yeah.
and needs to do his independent thing, and I get that because I was 21 once too. You know, and just like I didn't need my parents, I didn't need anybody, you know.
Yeah,
It's that feeling, and it's there for a reason, you know. He's supposed to be independent, you know, and that's
Right,
him
exactly.
finding himself. And so, and my daughter is starting. She's a little more like communicative, and I think it's maybe because she's a girl. I don't really know. I don't
Probably.
want to generalize,
Yeah.
but she's more of like, you know, misses me and like, hey, let's get together, you know.
Right.
I hope she doesn't grow out of that. So, yeah.
So
But that was just the family part of it. So the work part of it is a balance, and it has been a balance since I've started. So the farmers markets, I was doing nights and weekends, you know, different certain nights and weekends. That's always been a challenge. Now I'm working weekends, not doing the farmers markets, but the delivery is 2 days a week, and then I work 4 or 5 of those other days. So I'm working 6 or 7 days a week. And so it is a balance. It definitely is. And there's weeks where I feel unbalanced. Like I'm not like, not like I'm going to go under or something. I have yoga also in my life, and that really helps me to keep in balance.
okay. What kind of yoga do you do?
I do hatha yoga. So I actually did teacher training when my kids were young. So I'm a teacher, and I do that. I've been doing that
cool.
throughout the years too, when they were growing up, and I still do. I just teach 1 class a week right now, which is enough. But I do kind of miss teaching more regularly because I'm so busy that I don't practice regularly.
Right.
But when I teach, I practice at the same time. So I'm still getting that grounding experience. And yoga has really been very therapeutic for me.
What
and
kind of yoga
being
did you say it was?
balanced. Hatha.
What is that?
It's basically the original yoga.
Okay. Isn't
So-
Bikram original?
Bikram, no,
Bikram?
Bikram is the original hot yoga. So if
Okay.
you saw the
Okay.
sign that said that, that's
Yeah.
because hot yoga is an Americanized version of Bikram,
Right.
basically. Like they just took yoga and cranked up the heat and called it hot yoga. You know what I mean? But they don't do what Bikram yoga does. Bikram yoga actually practices the same poses every class.
Okay.
From what I heard. Or is that Ashtanga? I shouldn't talk about what I don't know. I have not trained in Ashtanga, and I have not trained in Bikram. I do know Ashtanga is a lot faster. The type of yoga I do is a little more slow and meditative, focusing on deep breathing and mindfulness. So we try to meditate throughout the entire class. So you're breathing deeply and slowly, and you're trying to release your thoughts. So it's just kind of like an hour of meditation
And it's guided.
with slow, guided movements.
Okay.
And I remind people to breathe deeply because we all forget.
Yeah.
And it definitely helps. Like I feel the weight of the world has lifted off to me after I take a yoga or after do yoga.
I did a hot yoga one time. It was the first time I ever did it, and they were doing kind of a guided meditation at the end, and it was like breathe in, breathe out. You know, breathe in, imagine you're somewhere, and I did. I got into like somehow I got into that space, and
Yeah.
I literally felt like I was on a beach, and I felt like I could hear, sounded like I could hear waves just crashing, and
Awesome.
then after the class was over, I came out. I'm like, it's over. I,
Yes.
I want to be on a beach right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Yeah.
guided meditations.
Yeah, it was amazing. I felt
Yeah.
really good afterwards.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it really does make you feel good, and it meditation in general does. But
how often do you meditate?
I usually meditate like probably on average twice a week. It's
Okay.
my goal to meditate every day.
Yeah, it's hard.
But it ends up being about twice a week, to be honest. But at some point, I'd like to meditate every day.
So when you meditate, like if you're doing it at home, are you doing guided meditation?
No.
No, you just sit there. And what's your thoughts?
So I clear my mind and I focus on the sound of my breath or the feeling of my breath. So I think like the strict definition of meditation is to release thoughts, to not
Mm-hmm.
to continue to release thoughts. So thoughts are going to come back in, and that's okay. It's still meditation. So
Right.
people have some misconception about that. I've heard people say, "Oh, I can't meditate because I can't get rid of my thoughts." Well, no, they're going to keep coming back. But then you
Right.
keep releasing them, and then you keep releasing them. And so if you focus on your breath, it's always in the moment. So the breath is always there with you, and you're present when you're focused on the breath. And so that's the idea of meditation, is to be present without thoughts. And when you could get to that place, you're more in touch with your true self than you ever are any
Right.
other time. That's you, because basically the true self is the observer behind the thoughts. We think we're our thoughts.
Mhm.
Before we learn meditation, we get so attached with our thoughts. We think
Right.
that's who we are. We have
Yeah.
these opinions, we have these thoughts, we analyze the world, we think right and wrong and good and bad, and that's what the brain does. And we
Right.
think that's us. It's not us. Actually, we're the observer behind all that. And so when
Right.
we can quiet all those thoughts, which, it takes effort, and some days it's easier than others, but it's so worth it. Like, you feel so much peace, and you feel like everything is perfect just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, I need to change this, I need
Right.
to change that.
And
That's the brain.
all those outside factors doesn't really matter at that point.
Mhm.
Yeah, like you don't care what's going on in the political world, or
Mhm.
that's a huge stressor on a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I'm kind of an anti-news person lately.
Yeah.
I don't
Thank
think
God.
I don't and I don't think it's all fake news. I'm not one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that the news is angled in a way that it's making you think these people are wrong. These people are bad.
Right.
These people are evil.
Yeah.
And goes for both sides.
I was gonna say it's both sides.
It's both sides,
Yep.
and I can see that because I don't watch the news.
Yep.
I can see how fired up people who watch the news are getting,
Yep.
and I'm just like, I don't like what it's doing to you guys.
All you
like,
gotta do is get on social media, and you'll see like, oh, Trump this or
Uh-huh.
Biden that.
Yep,
Like,
yep.
yeah, it goes both ways.
and they're playing
Yeah.
us against each other, and
Yep.
so I really don't like what's happening there. But yeah, yoga could definitely erase all of that
Yeah.
BS.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to talk about what happened a couple weeks ago to you. I seen on Facebook, you had posted about somebody breaking into your neighbor's house.
Oh yeah.
What
Well, it
was
was
that?
so it was like down the street from where I live, because I
Okay.
have a garden there. I have a friend who owns a farm, and it's they don't really farm the property, but they have apple trees and stuff, and they let me have a garden there. And I was at my garden, and I see a car pull up. It's like a sedan. I didn't see it pull up per se. I heard doors open, and I look over there, and all 4 doors were open, and 4 guys are standing right outside the doors, and I'm just like, that's weird. Like, it didn't seem normal. And so I heard them talking a little bit. I couldn't hear what they were saying, and then I saw them run into the house, literally run. I was just like, yeah, this is not right. And I hid behind my tomato plant. And I was like, oh, crap, I'm not going to move. I'm going to stay right here. I don't think any of them are still out there, but I don't know when they're coming back. And
Right.
I didn't have my phone on me. It was in my car, which was about 20 feet away, and I didn't want to be seen,
Right.
because I was scared. And so I just stayed there and waited, watched them come back out a few minutes later with some bags, threw them in the trunk, jumped in the car, and sped off with the doors still open while they're speeding off, And then when they left, I did go get my phone and called the cops, and the cops came and did, an investigation. And while they were doing that, they got a report that there was another place that was being broken into, same car. They caught it on a doorbell cam.
Wow.
They caught one of the guys on the doorbell cam with a hammer about
I
to
seen
smash
that.
the doorbell
I seen
cam.
that.
So, yeah, he should have worn a mask. I don't know what he was thinking. I'm guessing they're not local. I don't know, though. They haven't caught him, at least as far as I heard. Yeah.
Oh,
and
my
so there were
gosh.
several more that same night. It kept on going. And then they had it
Wow.
on the 6 o'clock news the next day. Yeah,
That's
that was scary.
That
That
is
was
scary.
Yeah.
Imagine just being out in your garden pulling
Yeah.
tomatoes
It's
or whatever you're
usually-
doing.
It's usually the most peaceful place for me, you know?
Now do you like look around like
No, not really. But those neighbors were really grateful. They were actually the kids of the dad that lives there. He was away, and I guess he's away a lot, so they come and check on his horse and his property and stuff. And they came over and thanked me. And we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you saw it and you reported it and stuff. And they were just really grateful. And that made me feel good. I was just like, well, we're looking out for each other, you know.
Yeah.
And it is that kind of community too.
Yeah.
Like it's DeWitt is where I live, and it's a good community.
It's a real nice.
I've lived there like 15 years. Yeah, it's really everybody looks out for each other. And if there's like one little girl that has like cancer, and there's so many people that have been posting signs in their yard and spreading love for her. It's love for Lily is what they always have on the signs. And that's just one example. If somebody passes away, there's always fundraisers and different things. Somebody's fighting cancer. You know, there's just all kinds of things where people are helping each other. And
That's cool.
It's what I've loved about that community. I'm not going to live there a whole lot longer. It'll be sad to leave. But no, I'm looking to be closer to where I open my cafe.
Okay.
But I don't know where that's going to be yet.
Right.
I'm thinking Lansing. I'm hoping Lansing. But
I hope
maybe,
it's Lansing. I want to go to it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great. But I also am like opening up my mind to other possibilities right now, just because I want to see where the universe takes me. Like, where am I supposed to be? That's what I'm just putting out the.
So you're open
sensors.
to going to like other cities like Grand Rapids
or Brighton or Ann Arbor, but yeah, Grand Rapids I've
Brighton's
thought
a good
about.
area.
Yeah, so I kind of want to do some market research and see like where are there people with these certain diet restrictions that might be looking for something like this.
Well, I mean, one thing I've come to notice is like a lot of your metro areas like Grand Rapids or Ann Arbor and even East Lansing, mainly because there's like younger people. They're more health conscious, and so they're more open to like eating, more whole foods, and they want to go, like if they go out to eat, they want to eat something that's a little bit more healthy.
I think you're right.
I know I'm right.
Because
that's how I am.
area. Yeah, East Lansing is an area that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And I definitely was thinking the same thing. Like I should be near the campus because I think, I do have some young customers. And they're all about it,
Right.
and a couple of them are vegans, and they're just like super excited that there's a vegan place because there's not a whole lot of that. There's one, but it's kind of like a vegan fast food, which is fine for some people.
What is it?
Vegan or
okay.
I don't know if I'm saying it right.
I know what you're talking about now. I just couldn't remember the name.
Maybe it's vegan. I don't know how you pronounce it, to be honest.
Okay.
But they seem to be doing well for themselves. And that's definitely a niche that needed to be filled because you go to a fast food restaurant, there's not a whole lot. I guess Burger King has an Impossible Burger, but most fast food doesn't have a whole lot of,
Yeah.
So they're kind of filling that niche. But mine is a little different
You're
because
not a
it's
fast
whole.
food.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's more whole foods, more
It's like, it's like a
homemade type stuff.
it's like a mom and pop type place. Yeah.
Exactly.
You made all the food with love.
Except for without all the butter and flour.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you can actually go out to eat and feel healthy, feel good, good after you walk out the door.
That's my goal.
Yeah, I had a guy on the podcast. His name's Dayon Williams, and he lost a crap ton of weight, and he's vegetarian, and so I was asking him like what you eat. Actually, one of the questions I asked him, I said, how do you make sure you get enough protein and whatnot? And he's like, I hate that question. That's something all people ask every vegetarian, and everybody hates it. But he said like when he goes out to eat, he gets like fries. He loves fries, and I'm just thinking like that's not healthy.
I eat fries. I'm going to admit it right now. In fact, people laugh at me sometimes because they're like, you seem like you're so healthy all the time, but you like fries? Yeah, I like Wendy's fries. Those are my favorite ones. I like how they leave the peel on.
Okay.
Tastes better to me. I don't know if they use a different oil. I used to really like McDonald's fries, but I've kind of outgrown that. I don't know why.
They're not good.
They used to be.
You have to get like a bunch like together, to get a good mouthful.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think I liked it better when I was eating the whole meal. It's like they go
Right.
good with the whole meal, but just
Yeah.
by themselves they're just eh. Whereas Wendy fries just by themselves is a good
They're good.
snack. I don't know.
Do you dip them in like a Frosty? Because a lot of people do
Oh
that.
no, not usually. But I'm sure I would. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I do eat fries and ice cream sometimes. I'm not like super healthy all the time. I also like potato chips. That's another weakness.
Now, do you work out outside of yoga? Do you do anything else?
I don't. I hike a lot.
Okay.
So, and when I go hiking, a lot of times I do yoga while I'm hiking. So, like if I go
Cool.
out in the woods and there's no one around, I'll roll down a yoga mat and just do some yoga there.
That's cool.
Or I always have a blanket in my backpack, so I do yoga on that too sometimes. But
Cool.
yeah, yoga is really my biggest source of exercise, aside from hiking, which is great. Like if I go out into the dunes, like I love going to the dunes at Lake Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And I love hiking up and down and up and down, and it's such good exercise. Like I feel like I prefer the natural forms of exercise.
Okay.
I've never really loved being in the gym setting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to work at the Y because I used to teach yoga there, and they gave me a free membership, and I only work out once in a while.
Yeah.
And it's good in the winter when the weather's really bad out and you just don't feel like being outside. But like other than that, I just was like, eh.
You don't like running outside, or?
No, it's always kind of hurt my knees if I run a lot.
What about biking?
I do like biking and I do like rollerblading.
Okay.
Yep, I do like those. I walk more than I do those two things, but I do like doing those two things too.
Okay.
So I definitely enjoy that.
Is there anything else you want to talk about regarding the business before we wrap this up? Anything you want to put out there? This was fun. I enjoy talking to you.
Thank you. I can't think of. Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you the other businesses. So I sell coffee from Rust Belt Roastery. I sell tea from.
And you sell these with your food?
With my deliveries.
Okay.
So the tea is from Divine Lotus Tea Room and Spa. These are all like people I met at the farmers market, so it's really cool because they're like friends of mine, and I'm selling their stuff. I sell some gluten-free treats, cookies, and pies from gluten-free rocks. I sell kombucha from Apple Blossom Kombucha.
They just opened up a new place, didn't they?
Yeah. On Saginaw there. Yep.
Yeah, in Frandor.
Yep. And then I sell some sauce from Grand Traverse Sauce Company. So those are the other things I sell in addition to my food.
I think I just bought some sauce from them.
Nice. Yeah, they've got some good hot sauces.
Yeah. They have it's really good. It's spicy honey.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yep.
That stuff's so good.
It's called I can't remember what it's
remember.
called now, but I do sell that. I just sell the little bottles of it.
Okay.
Just because I don't have enough room to like stock all their stuff,
right.
So I just decided on a few of the sauces, just the little bottles.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I like selling that, and I like to, when I open up my cafe, I would like to also do that, like sell other local products and help, other local businesses. I want like partnerships. I really want, I think that when I first started out with my business, I was doing everything by myself, and I remember thinking like, if I have a cafe, I'm not going to be able to do this all by myself. Like I don't want to.
Right.
And I just think that there's a lot of people out there that have great ideas, and that it'd be great if we could network and help each other out. And I think it's a win-win.
It's a good sense of community.
Exactly.
Yeah, it kind of helps boost your business, helps boost their business. It's not taking anything from you, and it's not taking anything from them.
Exactly.
I think that's a problem too with a lot of businesses. Like they get this like they want to be rivals with the other person because they're getting more customers than me, but you can work together.
Exactly.
Not everybody's going to go to your restaurant all the time.
Yeah.
They might want to go to this place one day, or your restaurant the next day.
Exactly. And I can't make sauce and gluten-free treats and kombucha and all of that stuff. I can't do it all.
Right. Exactly.
I gave up trying that.
It's a famine's mentality.
It is. It is. Some people are very competitive. And,
right.
Again, that word abundance comes into play. I've learned throughout the years that there is an abundance available to us out there if we just open to it. And so when you open to it and you have that mindset, you realize there's enough for everybody.
Right.
There's enough to go around. So.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you don't, if there's not, then you're the reason why there's not. You know, you're the one.
You stop the
you're
flow.
the one stopping
Yep.
it. You know.
Exactly.
All right. Well, with that being said, I think we should wrap this up. This
Okay.
was fun. I really enjoyed it. If you want to order meals from her, go to her Facebook page, right? And do you have a special Facebook page for it? Is it?
Abundance Cafe. It's like, I think the tagline is something like nourishment for your mind, body, and soul. But if you just
Okay.
look up Abundance Cafe, you'll find it.
Okay. And pretty soon, hopefully, she'll have a storefront.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you.